Welcome to this episode of Monday Morning Joe. My name is Dr. Joseph Mikhael from the Translational Genomics Research Institute in Phoenix, Arizona. Monday Morning Joe is a quick-hitting, coffee talk style 6-episode series in the latest and greatest in multiple myeloma. Please remember to subscribe to the Exchange CME YouTube channel and make sure your notifications are on so you don't miss a single episode. Today we're going to discuss the concept of quadruplets in multiple myeloma in frontline therapy. What I mean by that, of course, is 4 drug combinations. Is 4 really better than 3? Should we be giving this many drugs to patients? These are the kinds of questions that are informing this really important topic as we see every single meeting that we attend where research is presented in multiple myeloma. We have more and more studies building the case for using quadruplets, initially now using it in patients who are eligible and planning to go to autologous stem cell transplant, but we're now even starting to see the benefit potentially of using quadruplets in patients who are not going to transplant. So what is this all about? Well, we learned this, if you will, historically, that very often in myeloma, if we have 2 drugs, instead of using them sequentially, we get more mileage out of them when we use them together. That synergy. So drug A and drug B are both drugs in myeloma. Let's say that using drugs AB is better than using drug A then B. And that synergy becomes really important. And so we learned over time that 2 is better than 1, 3 was better than 2. But of course, with each time we do this, we have to make sure that it really is better because it is going to potentially create more toxicity and it is definitely going to cost more. So now, is it worth adding a 4th drug? Is it worth now having 3 novel drugs together with dexamethasone? Historically, in myeloma, we've used a proteasome inhibitor and an immunomodulatory drug, or in some cases, a monoclonal antibody and an immunomodulatory drug. But what about using all 3 together? So using a monoclonal antibody like daratumumab or isatuximab, along with a proteasome inhibitor, typically bortezomib, but now sometimes carfilzomib, and indeed an immunomodulatory drug, typically lenalidomide. So we've been guided perhaps most by the recently published Griffin study, which was a phase 2 randomized trial of DVRD, so daratumumab, bortezomib, lenalidomide, and dexamethasone, versus the historical standard of care of VRD of bortezomib, lenalidomide, and dexamethasone. And what did this study show us? It showed us several things. It showed us that when we do add that 4th drug, we get a deeper response and a more durable response. In this strategy, they gave 4 cycles, the transplant, then 2 more consolidative cycles before going to maintenance therapy. And the maintenance therapy was also different, either giving daratumumab and lenalidomide or just lenalidomide alone. But now we've not just seen the Griffin study, we've seen a whole series of studies. The GMMG study from Germany has similarly demonstrated the benefit of adding isatuximab to VRD versus VRD alone. And interestingly, in that study, the primary endpoint is MRD negativity. And with just 18 weeks of isatuximab plus VRD, over 50% of patients achieved MRD negativity. And so what's beneficial of this is not just the depth of response or even the duration of that response, is it's feasible to do so. We're seeing not very much overlapping toxicity, although we always have to watch for neutropenia. We can see a little bit of a reduced ability to collect stem cells, although we have the tools now to overcome that. And so this has led recently to the NCCN designating this 4-drug combination of DVRD present there. There's also opportunities to affect the proteasome inhibitor change, especially in patients in whom we may prefer using carfilzomib if they have high-risk disease or indeed if they have known neuropathy. So I think there is a move towards quadruplets in multiple myeloma. I think the move is already here for many of our patients and should be considered in patients going to autologous stem cell transplant. Perhaps in a future Monday Morning Joe, we may talk about patients who are not going to transplant as that data evolves. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. As discussed earlier, please check back for new episodes on the Exchange CME YouTube page. Clinicians can also visit exchangecme.com for free access to CME in a wide variety of therapeutic areas. Well, thanks again. It's been such a privilege to walk you through this Monday Morning Joe series, and we hope to see you again very soon.